It was a cold, restless evening in the city, the kind that made even the neon lights look harsh and unfriendly. Michael Carter, the CEO of a giant corporation, was walking home alone after yet another hollow board meeting that had been all about numbers, profits, and mergers. His polished shoes clicked sharply on the sidewalk, his mind tangled in forecasts and deals. But something stopped him in his tracks. There, on a lonely bus stop bench, was a little girl, no older than 7. She was curled up as small as she could make herself, trying to disappear into her own thin arms. Her clothes were ragged and too light for the biting wind. A tattered backpack was pressed against her chest like it was a stuffed animal offering the only comfort she had left. Michael just stood there for a moment. Cars flew past without slowing down. A couple of people walked by, studiously avoiding eye contact with the scene in front of them, choosing not to see. But Michael couldn't look away. He saw how her small body shook with cold, how she breathed in little sharp gasps that misted in the night air. It hit him in a way that nothing in those boardrooms ever had. He felt something tighten painfully in his chest, a kind of helpless anger and sorrow all at once. For a brief second, he saw his own daughter's face, who would have been around that age if she were still alive. That memory, usually locked away behind his stoic executive demeanor, crashed over him like a wave. He realized how insulated he'd been from the real world, how easy it was to pretend that people like her didn't exist, that someone else would help, or that it wasn't his problem. But now there was no escaping it. He could see every shiver, every exhausted blink. He took a slow breath, ignoring the freezing wind cutting through his expensive coat. Then he took a step closer. Another. Until he was right in front of the bench, looking at her with eyes that were no longer the eyes of a CEO but of a father, of a human being who refused to keep walking. He didn't know what he was going to do yet. But he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't going to leave her there. Michael slowly lowers himself to her level, careful not to frighten her further. His voice is soft, almost breaking the silence of the cold night. "Hey, you okay?" She jerks awake, startled. Her eyes are wide and wary, darting around as if searching for an escape route. For a moment she looks at him like he's just another threat in a world that's given her too many already. He quickly shrugs off his expensive coat and holds it out. She stares at it, suspicious, unsure. But the cold is too much. She reaches out hesitantly, pulling it around her thin frame like it's the warmest blanket in the world. They sit in silence for a beat, the street noises fading into the background. He asks her name. Her voice is small, but it comes out, "Lily." She explains in broken sentences that her mother died last year, that she'd been sent to a shelter but it was too scary, so she ran. She hasn't eaten all day. Every word she says feels like a dagger to Michael's heart. He's a man who can close million-dollar deals with a single phone call, but he suddenly feels powerless, angry at the world, angry at himself for not seeing children like her before. And then something inside him cracks wide open. He remembers his own daughter, lost too soon, how he'd give anything to hold her again, to keep her safe. That memory burns behind his eyes, making them sting. He swallows hard, voice shaking just a little as he says the words he never planned to say, "Come with me." She flinches at first, drawing back, her eyes scanning him, weighing the risk. She's been taught not to trust anyone. But when she meets his gaze, she sees something different. Not pity. Not judgment. Just kindness. Slowly, she gives the tiniest of nods, still wrapped in his coat like a fragile promise of safety. Michael lets out the breath he didn't realize he was holding. He offers his hand. She takes it, small fingers cold in his warm grip. And together they rise from that bench, leaving behind the darkness of the bus stop, stepping into something neither of them fully understands yet, but both desperately need. Michael leads Lily into a warm, bustling diner that glows with neon and smells of coffee and syrup. She clings to his coat like a lifeline, eyes darting around nervously. When the waitress brings a stack of pancakes, she grabs her fork with shaking hands and eats so quickly he has to remind her to slow down. He watches in silence, his chest tight. This tiny girl is so hungry it hurts to see. He discreetly steps away for a moment, calling social services. His voice is low but urgent. He wants to know what he can do, how to help her without making things worse. When he returns to the booth, she's calmer. They sit quietly, the hum of the diner all around them. She starts to talk in little bursts, about how her mom used to sing lullabies when she was scared, how she thought the shelter felt like a prison. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't try to fix it. He just listens, really listens, like maybe no one ever has. Her eyelids begin to droop, and she leans against his arm. He pays the check and carries her outside, flagging down a taxi. She's asleep before they're halfway to the hotel. At the front desk, he insists on paying for a secure room. Social workers meet them there, ready to watch over her through the night. He stands by the door for a long moment, watching her small form under clean sheets, clutching the coat he gave her. He finally leaves, feeling heavier than he ever has in his life. When he gets home, the view from his penthouse window is dazzling, endless city lights, the kind of wealth and power he spent his life chasing. But tonight it all feels hollow. He presses his palm to the cold glass, seeing the reflection of a man who's built empires but couldn't see a little girl starving in plain sight. His mind won't quiet. Every plan, every meeting seems absurd now. All he can see is Lily's eyes, full of gratitude and fear and hope all at once. Sleep won't come. So he stays there, watching the city he thought he ruled, realizing just how blind he's been. The morning sun filters through the hotel lobby windows, casting a warm glow on the marble floors. Michael walks in with a nervous anticipation he hasn't felt in years. Then he sees her, Lily, standing near a chair, hair neatly brushed, wearing new clothes provided by social services, but still wrapped tightly in the oversized coat he gave her. She looks up at him with shy eyes and whispers, "Thank you for helping me." Something in her voice lingers, fragile yet powerful. Michael kneels down in front of her, placing a gentle hand over hers. "I want to help more," he says quietly. "Not just you. All the kids like you." She doesn't say anything, but the way her lips quiver and eyes glisten speaks louder than words. Later that morning, he walks into his company's boardroom, not as the cold, distant CEO they've come to know, but as a man transformed. He stands at the head of the table, a photo of Lily in his hand. "I'm starting a foundation," he says firmly. "For homeless children. And I'm redirecting a portion of this company's profits to fund shelters, education, safe homes. We've made enough. It's time to give back." The room falls silent. A few board members glance at each other in disbelief. One speaks up, questioning the financial risk, the shareholder backlash. But Michael doesn't flinch. He places the photo on the table. "She slept on a bench last night, while we slept in million-dollar homes. We can do better," he says. His voice is steady, resolute. "We have to." The room stays quiet, the weight of his words settling like truth too long ignored. Some shift uncomfortably. Others nod slowly. But Michael doesn't wait for approval. This isn't a proposal. It's a promise. And for the first time in a long while, he feels like a leader, not of a corporation, but of something far more human. Weeks pass, and the city seems softer somehow, touched by quiet miracles. Lily has found a new home with a gentle, loving foster family. The first time Michael visits, she spots him from across the yard and breaks into a radiant smile. She runs full speed into his arms, giggling, her small face pressed against his chest. He holds her tight, breathing in the scent of clean clothes and sunshine, feeling her heartbeat against his. The transformation in her is obvious, her eyes brighter, her laughter free. He feels a warmth spread through him that no boardroom triumph ever gave him. Michael himself has changed too. He's shed the cold, distant executive persona that once shielded him from caring too much. He's in the shelters every week now, reading stories, serving meals, listening. His employees follow his lead. The company that once only chased profits becomes known for its compassion and generosity, funding homes, schools, and food programs. He never misses a chance to see Lily. One afternoon, he walks beside her to a playground, their shadows long in the setting sun. Children's laughter fills the air like music. Lily stops, tugging at his hand, looking up at him with earnest eyes. "You saved me," she whispers softly, the words catching in her throat. Michael feels his chest tighten, eyes burning with tears he doesn't bother to hide. He kneels, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead, and shakes his head slowly with a tender smile. "No," he says, voice thick with emotion. "You saved me." She hugs him tight, burying her face in his shoulder. The camera pans back slowly, capturing the playground alive with children's laughter, swings creaking, slides shining in the golden light. Michael and Lily stand at the center of it all, a living testament that even in the hardest places, hope can take root. It's a quiet promise to the world: one act of kindness, one moment of courage to truly see another person, can transform not just a single life, but all of us.